So welcome back to Cooking Fun with Joanna. I am Joanna Hodorowska, your host, and I'm the owner of Nutrition in Motion. I help athletes and actually everybody improve their performance and their health so that they love their body and their life. And part of taking care of you is all about making cooking fun and making your own meals, because that's always going to improve your own performance and your health. So today we have for our cooking fun menu an Asian marinated turkey breast with roasted Brussels sprouts and carrots. And I still have a little bit of the fennel root from 2 weeks, or I don't know, a month ago. So I'm going to cut the rest of that into mine as well. And if you want to add bacon to the Brussels sprouts, we can add bacon to the Brussels sprouts, because bacon just kind of makes it all a little bit better. So what we're going to need is, the recipe calls for reduced sodium soy sauce. If you don't have reduced sodium soy sauce, then just use soy sauce. You're going to do 1/4 cup of that, a couple tablespoons of olive oil, 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, 2 cloves of minced garlic, 1 tablespoon of ground ginger, or not ground ginger root, but minced ginger root. So we're going to mince that. Some black pepper, ground cloves. If you want cayenne pepper, you're more than welcome to add it, but I'm not a big fan of cayenne pepper, so I am going to omit that particular ingredient. And then obviously some turkey breast. So we're going to be making that in one pan. And in our other pan, we need and I think I'm going to add 1/2 an onion to this recipe, because an onion is just going to make it taste a little bit better. And then the other recipe is we're going to do Brussels sprouts with some carrots and an onion, more olive oil, and then salt and pepper to taste. So you're going to actually need 2 pans.
Yep.
Because when we put the soy sauce with the lemon and put all those things together, we're not going to put that in with the Brussels sprouts, because it's just we want the Brussels sprouts to have their own flavor. Okay? So what we're going to do first is actually prepare. I have the turkey breast.
Turkey breast.
What I'm going to have us do is put it into a bowl. We are going to marinate it just a teeny tiny bit. But what we're going to do is go ahead and measure out the 1/4 cup of the soy sauce. I don't think I even have a 1/4 cup of soy sauce. So we'll just make it a tablespoon of soy sauce, because that's all I got. So I'm altering the recipe already. And for some, it's like, you know what, soy sauce might be a little bit too strong. So maybe I secretly did that on purpose. I thought I had plenty, but I don't. So I'm going to do just a tablespoon of soy sauce. I'm going to put it in a big bowl. And then I'm going to do the 2 tablespoons of lemon juice.
Is it 2 tablespoons of lemon juice?
2 tablespoons of lemon juice. And then if you have, I finally got my my Pampered Chef order. So I have now a garlic press. So I'm going to take 2 cloves of garlic, stick it in there instead of, you know, chopping it up and dicing it. I'm just going to smush it into the bowl. But if you don't have a fancy schmancy garlic press, then you just want to take your big butcher knife and just dice it as small as you can. Okay? And then we're going to take a little bit of that ginger root. And I'm saying a little bit, it's going to be about a, you know, 1/2 inch. I've got a pretty big fat one, so I'm going to take that and chop that up. And I'll show you how I'm chopping it up. once I get this thing leveled out here. So I'll move this over, and I'm just going to hold the two ends and cut it into slices with my big butcher knife, and then slice it into smaller pieces, and then I'm going to dice that even smaller. So they're going to be really small bits. So it's going to be totally minced. And then you're going to put that into the bowl. This is totally playing with the food. And you have to keep playing with the ginger, because sometimes you get the hard pieces and they're hard to chop. So you have to really cut into it. Then you have to turn the pieces that you cut so that you can make them even smaller. Just make sure that you don't get your finger stuck in there, because that could be painful, and especially if you have a nice sharp knife. And then you can take your knife, hold it down on the one end with your left hand, and then move the knife around to kind of dice the ginger even more. And then it should be nicely finely diced. And then you can put that in with that soy sauce and lemon. Now you're going to put a little bit of olive oil in there, probably a tablespoon. And as you're noticing that I do a lot by eyeballing. So I'm eyeballing 2 tablespoons of, or a tablespoon and a half of olive oil, and then mixing it in with that the lemon, ginger, and the other spices. Actually, we can probably put the clove in there too. And the clove was a 1/4 teaspoon, so I have to find my little 1/4 teaspoon. A 1/4 teaspoon measuring spoon. I'm going to put that in there too. And I think that was all. And the black pepper. You're just going to stir all that around, mix it all together. And what you're going to do is take the turkey breast, and we're going to let that marinate in here for a little bit. So what I want you to do is kind of work the turkey breast, or work the sauce all over the turkey breast. If you have 2 of them, it's going to be, you probably need a shallower bowl, because the one that I use is not quite right. But I'm going to hold one while I play with the other one, because this is the fun that we have with food, right?
A plastic bag.
Well, there's also that idea. Yes, you could use it, put it all in a plastic bag and just let it sit there and soak. But I've got my 2 pieces pretty much covered, and we're just going to let that kind of marinate while we make the Brussels sprouts. Okay? So that part's done, and you can just put it in the bowl. That was easy, right? And I'm going to wash my hands because it's got the lovely oil and soy sauce on it. And if you've got the electric stove, definitely make sure you turn your pan for the Brussels sprouts onto high. The rest of us, we can put it on medium, low, if you have a gas stove. And we're going to cut an onion first. So we're only going to use half of it for now. The other half is going to go in with the turkey when we actually cook it. I'm going to have you keep the top on, chop the bottom off.
What do you mean? Charging?
And then peel the 2 layers of the onion off, but still keep the tail on. And make sure you peel it off until you get rid of that layer that you can't cut through. It's that little layer of skin. And then you're going to take the end of your knife, cut it into strips, because we're gonna dice these. And then if you can push down and cut across, then you cut the onion in half. And now you're gonna hold on to it with your thumb and 3 fingers and just dice the onions. And right now we're only gonna just use the half. Does anybody else have bacon or is it just me?
Bacon, yeah.
Did you bring that with you?
I have the bacon ready.
You have bacon ready. All right. I have bacon in hand. New container. Wegmans applewood smoke uncured bacon. I'm going to take 2 strips of it and I'm going to use scissors to cut it up into my pan. And I've got to turn it up a teeny bit. This way you want to either chop it on that cutting board, or I use the scissors to, I don't know if you can see this. I use the scissors to cut the bacon into smaller pieces. I just find sometimes scissors are a little faster to do this with.
So are you putting the Brussels sprouts in the smaller pan or the,
Well, I actually have 2 equal sized pans.
okay, because
Right,
one
that's
larger and
my
one
pan.
smaller.
Plus I have this one. You might want a smaller one actually for the turkey, but the turkey is going to actually be made separately.
Right, okay, so you use a smaller one for the turkey.
Probably medium sized.
Okay, like medium, yeah.
I would say medium sized. And because I moved this over, I've got onions on the
Yeah.
bottom here.
So I have the medium and the large.
Medium and the large, but I would put the vegetables in the large.
Okay, that's what I figured.
Yeah. And so I'm going to let that bacon heat up a little bit, let it actually release some of its fat before I add the onions and the, what's the other thing that I was going to add? Carrots, because we need some carrots. And I still have the tricolor carrots from the last class. I'm going to stick with purple carrots. So I'm going to move my onions over. And we're going to cut the onions into matchsticks. Because everything looks nicer in matchsticks, right?
The onions or the carrots?
Pardon me?
You're gonna cut the carrots into matchsticks.
Cut the carrots into matchsticks, yes. So you're going to cut the ends off. Cut them into like 2-inch pieces. And then cut them into matchsticks. Because the carrots are going to take a little bit longer to cook than the Brussels sprouts. So I want to make sure that we put the carrots in before we put the Brussels sprouts in. My bacon isn't letting out that much juice or fat yet. So I'm going to put a little bit of the olive oil into that pan. So you're going to put anywhere from 1 to 2 tablespoons of olive oil and start putting those matchsticks into the matchsticks carrots into that pan.
Oh, that's hot.
We're gonna try not to actually move the carrots all that much because we want to caramelize them. So we're not gonna stir them often. Stir. So I just put 3 carrots into mine. And if you're ready, you can put the onions in. We're going to have the fun with doing a cup of Brussels sprouts. What I'm going to suggest is you cut the bottom of the Brussels sprout, and then you're going to put it either on its top, hold the ends, and cut it into I don't know, is that a quarter inch slices?
That's something like that.
It's about a quarter inch. Depending on the size of the Brussels sprout, you're going to cut it into 3 or into 4, but you're going to cut it into slices and then just put it into that pan. So I'm going to reverse my pan here. And if you have an electric stove, go ahead and turn on your other pan just to get that heated up. You're just going to do this and probably do about 20 Brussels sprouts. Just going to put them and throw them in. And this is the first I have a, look at this, I have a moldy Brussels sprout from the inside out. Or maybe it's dirt, I don't know, but I'm going to toss that one.
Purple.
And again, with the Brussels sprouts and the carrots, you're just going to leave them there for a little bit because we want to caramelize them. Don't worry about stirring anything. You're just making sure that everything's covering the bottom of the pan. So it should start looking like this, where you're covering it all up. But that's only 4 Brussels sprouts, so I think I got a ways to go. After a while, you start cursing that you wanted this many Brussels sprouts, but they're so good. How's it coming along for you?
Good.
Oh, good. So eventually, the Brussels sprouts will kind of shrink a little bit. Too bad they don't shrink like spinach, but they will get a little bit smaller. So it looks like it's going to be like way too many Brussels sprouts, but it all shrinks and it'll fit better in the pan.
Now, if we're going to add potatoes, do we add potatoes now, or?
You can add the potatoes now, yes. And I would probably matchstick them as well.
Okay.
right, I'm gonna do 2 more.
Are you cooking too?
I'm gonna go ahead and stir it and see what's going on over here. And if you want to put salt and pepper on it, now would be a good time to do that. And if things are sticking a little bit too much on the bottom of the pan, you might need to add a little bit more of the olive oil, just another tablespoon or less. Oh, I forgot to put the onion into it. Oops. If you want to put the onion in, that's another, we got to chop that up too. You know, sometimes you realize something's missing. So take that other onion, take the covering off, slice it into sections and then down the middle, and then dice it. I'm gonna actually make these a little bit thinner than what I did for the marinade, because I want these onions to actually be able to cook in that. I'm gonna put the onions in.
Yeah, I need more onion. Another scallion. There's yours. Up there.
I'm gonna stir this one more time. See if I can get some of those onions to get to the bottom of the pan. We're trying to caramelize both the onions and the carrots and the Brussels sprouts. So we're just gonna stir it all up again. Try to get some of those onions to the bottom of the pan and continue just letting it simmer and cook. Easy peasy, right?
Yeah.
All right. So we're gonna let that kind of simmer and cook. And while we're doing that, we can cook the turkey breast. I'm gonna move you all over here.
Now, what were we adding the extra onion to, Joanna?
The Brussels sprouts.
Okay.
Because
Because
I
I thought
forgot
we
to
had,
put them in at the beginning.
pardon me?
I forgot to put them in at the beginning.
We did.
Oh, you did? I didn't.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Easy shallot, but a little bit more never hurt.
I forgot to put them in at the beginning, so I had to put them in at the end. And if you wanted to add something extra, like a little extra zing to the Brussels sprouts, you can either add some pumpkin seeds or some chopped walnuts. Just to get a little extra zing. And because I said that, I'm now gonna find my walnuts. and cut a couple of them up and throw them in. Slice them a little bit. So just take a little handful of them. And then I'm going to toss that on top of the walnuts. I mean, toss the walnuts on top of the Brussels sprouts. If you want the turkey to cook faster, you can cut them into slices. Otherwise, I turned on the heat for the pan. I put some olive oil into it. I'm just going to make sure it's covered there. And I'm actually just going to put the turkey breasts as are in the big slices. And I'm going to take the rest of that marinade and pour it on top. And I right now have that on a little bit too high a heat. So I'm going to turn that down so it simmers a little bit more rather than boiling like crazy. And since we don't put salt on the turkey, we can put salt on it now. If you want the turkey to cook a little bit faster, you can cut it into slices.
What are we doing with the honey?
Drizzle a little bit on the turkey.
Okay.
That's what it was supposed to be for. And it becomes like a little bit of a sweet and sour.
What's that?
It becomes like a little sweet and sour or sweet and candy. So yeah, I would drizzle a little bit on over the turkey. Thanks for keeping me on my toes when I forget some of the ingredients.
Well, I had everything laid out, so I'm like, all right, well, I know we didn't use the honey yet.
No, we didn't use the honey because I forgot to put the honey in. Honey.
Honey, honey. Well, we use maple syrup. Give that caramelized flavor.
I think you can use either one. I just realized that, you know, if I put the turkey in this way, it's going to take like 25 minutes for it to cook. That probably wasn't a smart idea. I'm going to cut mine while it's in the pan. And put it into the.
Where are we putting the cloves in at?
Pardon me?
The cloves.
The cloves ended up being in that marinade. It was at the beginning.
Okay.
Oh, well.
All right.
Well, you can always just sprinkle it on top of the turkey now. That's fine. It'll still work.
So then,
But if you cut it at least, you'll be able to cook it on one side then the other, and it'll cook a little faster. So my original plan was not a very well thought out plan of putting the whole turkey breast. I think it looks better if she's got more time, but since we want to do this a little faster, I'm gonna just cut them in half or cut them into 1-inch wedges and cook them side to side. I'm having a hard time picking up my turkey here. Yeah, that looks a little bit better. Now we're gonna go ahead and stir the Brussels sprouts.
Get that ready. Gina went ahead of you.
You're ahead of me?
Yeah, Gina went ahead of you and started them already.
That's all right. It's all good. So I'm gonna get a lid. I'm gonna get a big almighty lid for my vegetables. And I'm gonna pour a little bit of the lemon juice onto my Brussels sprouts. And then I'm gonna cover it, so that way, that will kind of pressure cook a little bit. Nobody likes half-cooked Brussels sprouts.
No.
No, they're a little crunchy, but they're not that good. I'm going to show you what my turkey looks like. Burn away. But it's almost ready to flip over to the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and flip some of these pieces over with my tongs. I didn't cut that very well, did I now? And this way you'll also get more of that marinade on both sides of the turkey. Make sure that the turkey is still on a medium-high heat so it continues to cook. I'm going to go ahead and uncover my Brussels sprouts. And then go ahead and cover it back up. So let them sit there. Now all we're doing is waiting for the turkey. Take another minute or another 3 or 4 minutes. My handy dandy plate. I'm gonna cheat. And see how the turkey is doing. And if you look, I just cut a piece of turkey in half. It's still not ready. So you don't want that pink in there. But feel free to take a piece out and just test it out to see how cooked it is, and then you'll know how much time you need. Basically, we need another 2-3 minutes for the turkey. You should be noticing that the marinade is starting to reduce as well. I'm going to take one of the bigger pieces and see how well cooked that one is. As you can see, the thicker pieces still need a ways to go to cook.
Yeah.
At least now you have your gauge, right?
True.
You know, the thicker the pieces, the longer it takes to cook. So you might have to still turn them over one more time to get them to cook all the way through. How's everybody's coming along?
Good.
Good.
Shannon, how's yours coming along?
I'm cooking a lot of turkey, so it's going to be a bit.
All right. Well, just make sure you have cut them into smaller pieces so that,
Yeah, it's definitely in small pieces. I cut it
yeah,
up.
then it'll cook faster. It's like they look nicer in 1-inch pieces, but they just take that much longer to cook. I'm gonna go ahead and flip my turkey again.
If you wanted to, you could marinate this even longer, right, Joanna?
Absolutely, you can marinate it for half a day if you wanted to, or even the night before.
Right.
And the longer you marinate it, the less you have to actually put the marinade into the pan.
That's true too, yeah.
I do have a small piece that is all cooked, so I'm gonna try it because I'm gonna cheat. That was really good. Nice combination of flavors. I don't think I've ever put clove in in a marinade before. It's really nice. So I'm just gonna take some photos of our creation in the pan. So I think Brussels sprouts look like they're ready. So I'm gonna spoon some of those onto my plate. That I don't burn my tongue when I get to eating them. And then I'm gonna check the piece that I had cut earlier to see if it's cooked through yet. I need 1 more minute. How's everybody else's cooking?
Right.
Is it getting there?
Put the thicker pieces in the middle of the pan.
Pardon me?
Putting the thicker pieces in the middle of the pan.
Right.
I think everything's done except for one, that one thicker piece in the middle. I think might need something more.
So how's everybody's look?
Really
Looks
good.
good.
Anybody have theirs on a plate yet?
No, no.
Nope.
Am I the only one that like cheated?
Yes.
Yes. I admit it. I'm impatient. But it looks pretty good. This is what mine looks like.
It does look good.
Whenever you're all ready, just if you can all lift your plates, then I can take a picture of all of them together. It smells really good.
I'll just show you my pans.
That's good. That'll work.
Let's see. Throwing this around.
It's pretty good. How was that? There it is.
Get it?
Yep, I got it. Thank you. Now it's time to dig in. I think the clove with the lemon and soy sauce really was a nice combination.
Yeah, it is.
I've never had that combination before.
No, I haven't.
I haven't either, and I think it really worked very well. And how'd the Brussels sprouts turn out?
Actually good.
Gina's plate looks a lot better than mine.
Oh no, you have a much better presentation than mine. Much better presentation. The only thing that's missing is I don't think I put enough salt on the Brussels sprout. It's a little bland as a result. Shannon, are you almost ready?
I'm just gonna taste my
Wow,
vegetables.
that turkey's unbelievable.
Turkey's unbelievable. That's right. Yeah. Thank you. No, thank you. Thank you for joining in, and good job on making it. So next
All right.
week, you ready?
Yep.
So next time we're making a Peruvian style chicken, and it's gonna have paprika, cumin, black pepper, salt, garlic, white vinegar, sweet onions, a bell pepper, and a lemon. And then, because I have and I'm sure this will last that long, I have a butternut squash. So we're gonna do something with butternut squash.
Okay.
I don't know what yet, but it's going to be something with butternut squash.
Okay.
Because I think we should all play with the butternut squash together. And tis the season now for butternut squash.
I have them. I've done lasagna with butternut squash.
Sounds
And
good.
I had a good recipe for fritters.
Maybe we'll do, I might do fritters or some kind of a mashed butternut squash. Because I have a good recipe for a soup, but I don't want a soup with a side of chicken, you know what I mean? So
Right.
I'll find something, but be prepared to have the butternut squash cube or just buy the cubed one. Because sometimes butternut squash can be hard to cut through.
Yep.
So rather than fighting in the class, maybe we'll just have them already diced up. Okay?
Yep.
Yep.
So
Sounds
thank
good.
you all
Yep.
for joining me for the next episode of Cooking Fun with Joanna. And if you have any questions or have anybody to invite, have them come visit www.nutritioninmotion.net. And they can contact me for the next class, which is on October,
6th?
is it 6th?
Yes.
No, October 6th is next Tuesday.
Yeah, that's next
No.
week. The
So it's gonna
13th.
be the 13th.
Or 13th or 14th, whatever.
13th.
Yeah.
It's gonna be the 13th.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be like, no, next week I have the Rotary cleanup. And I was happy that it was on a day that I could make it because otherwise I'd be cooking. So it's October 13th.
Yep.
Okay, Peruvian style chicken with some kind of butternut squash on the side.
Sounds
Sounds
good.
awesome.
Good.
Awesome. All right, have a great night. Bon
Great.
appetit, and see you
All right,
next time.
thanks.
Bye.
Night.
Bye.